and I've served in the army for 34 years. We are sorry we got a little late. I wanted to speak good things about Hyderabad, but the traffic is like killing, man. And so many traffic lights, and it's chock-a-block. Nevertheless, a warm welcome to everybody here. I won't take a lot of your time because you all have waited a little more. I'd like to only stress about education, which is very important in today's time. So in 1944, Russia started augmenting its school education with STEM and robotics. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, which a lot of you all will know. And they made it compulsory for their students. And in 1957, Sputnik was launched into space. It was a football-sized satellite which Russia put up into space, into low orbit. And it was the first satellite which was launched. That's the time the world woke up and noticed that they're doing something different. And all the countries who own a large chunk of the GDP adopted STEM by 1960, namely USA, Canada, entire Europe, Japan, surprisingly China, right? South Korea, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. So when you look at China today owning 20% of the world GDP, and we are at 3.98, we can very safely assume that possibly we should have done this as well. So in 1968, India's national education policy adopted STEM education as compulsory, but for unknown reasons it was never implemented. But today, with NEP 2020 coming in, it's become very important. And as parents, teachers, guides, educators, as also responsible citizens, we must know that educating our children without keeping them abreast with science and technology, making them familiar with artificial intelligence and machine learning in a very institutional manner. Not that we want to make engineers out of children by class 10. It's very important. Because today, as some of you all here are, besides being Indian citizens, we are global citizens as well, because you all be working for foreign firms from Indian soil, adhering to foreign rules on labor management, corporate practices, etc., etc. So, essentially, we are preparing our children to become global citizens as well. And the government of India is seized with this idea that we need to enable our children because our population dividend is very young. And secondly, with this big population, the government or the organized sector, where most of you all will be working, cannot fulfill the jobs for all the educated children who are passing out. Therefore, I got this small message to you all to encourage you all to look at science and technology, robotics, and artificial intelligence and machine learning, getting the construction, the problem solving, the cognitive skills of the children going, which would become a great force multiplier for them as they progress in their lives and, scale new heights. A small example I'd like to give before I finish. DeepSeek is a game-changing software which has been made by China very recently, and in one shot, all immigration to the US and Western countries has stopped, and they have generated jobs which will fulfill their need for the next 5 years. One single innovation. So the National Education Policy of India, which is into force already for 5 years, looks at sowing the spirit of science and innovation into children, and they're doing this by augmenting school education with STEM and robotics. I hope this has been informative. I've read about what all is happening in Little Millennium, the way the school is progressing and doing progressive things for your children. They're little children, and whatever augmentation they're doing, I think, is very appropriate and very up to the mark. In closing, I would love to say that Amrit Kal Viksit Bharat will happen in 2047 when we are 100 years old as an independent country, and the seeds for making engines of India's future growth, that is our children, is today. Because all the little children who are sitting here today would be 20 years old by then, and they would be absolutely cutting edge. So encourage your children. Each child is a world beater, and we need to see them that way. And we never know how many stars we have, sitting amongst us. Thank you very much.